So dear students friends, I have not completed the last class due to some technical difficulty where I have discussed about the liberal theories to the study of social movement. In there, I have started the theory of resource mobilizations, or we can say the resource mobilization theory. Now I am going to elaborate the theory, a resource mobilization theory. Resource mobilization theory is an outcome of rational choice theory. It is based on the assumption that individual actions are motivated by goals that express their preferences. So, what does it mean that the resource mobilization theory is a rational theory? It is based on the rationality of the human being, and human beings prefer it on the basis of their goal, and that their goal determines the nature of the social movement. They act within the given constraints and available choices. It is not possible for all individuals to get all that they want. They must make choice within the available possibilities at a given point of time. So there may be various type of goals, but all goals cannot be fulfilled by the movement. Only those goals, only those choices are given preference by the peoples on the basis of their rationality to start or to get or to continue the social movement. Rational choice theories argue that individual must make a rational choice regarding what is the best for them in a situation. Accordingly, anticipate and calculate the outcome of their action. It means that before starting the movement, they think that what is the choice, what is the goal, what is the actions, what is the ideology will be suitable for the movement, and what will be the results. So they must conscious about the choice as well as their results. Rational individuals choose the alternative that is likely to give them the greatest satisfactions. So according to this resource mobilization theory, the peoples pay importance on the rationality so that they can get highest satisfaction, they can get greatest satisfactions. Some of the proponents of this theory argue that social movements for revolutionary changes by the marginal section is out of impulse and emotions. Therefore, they do not sustain for a long and fail. So, the success of the social movements, it depends upon the attitude, it depends upon the passion, it depends upon the tolerance, it depends upon the rationality, it depends upon the sympathy, it depends upon the emotions, how much they are attached to that moment. If they are less attached to the moment, then it will not sustain or it will fail. It was called resource mobilization theory because the theory purported to show that the success of a movement depended on the resources available to be used. It means that why it is a resource mobilization theory? It is because the success of the movement basically depends upon resources. What type of resources? It may be the human resource, it may be the money resource, wealth resource, it may be the other physical force, labor, followers, etc. These are the resource. Movement depend upon the resource available to be used. So on the basis of the resource available to be used in the movement, the future of the movement depend upon it. These resources arose from inducing individuals to participate and to contribute to the cause. Individual participates because they see the benefits to be deprived from joining. See the benefits to be deprived from joining. If they will not participate, then there may be loss. Then also men come forward to join with the social movement. Success also depends on the movement being able to link to other network of groups and organizations. Or it means that the support from the other sectors are also essential for the success of a social movement according to this resource mobilized theory. The resource mobilization theory stress was wholly on the strategy to make the movement succeed in demanding for a change in government policies or legislation. Thus, it is sometimes said that the theory focused on political action or the realm of politics rather than on civil society. So, the basic goal, basic target, basic aim of the resource mobilization theory is the political realm. It is the political structure, not the civil society. Jenkins and Perot argued that protest and movement formations only occur when the necessary resources are pumped into it. So it means that it is the inspirations, it is the pressure made by others, then the movement come into exist. According to them, struggles by powerless and the poor groups only take place when rich sponsors take an interest in their struggle and pump resources into it. It means that the problems generally faced by our poor peoples, peasants group, workers group, or other vulnerable and marginalized group. But this vulnerable and marginalized group come into involved in social movement, or they start the social movement with the inspirations made by the rich class or by the powerful group. Without their help, without the help of the capitalist group, without the help of the rich group, powerful group, they can't go forward. In the case of the farm worker, Jenkins and Perot argued that their struggle only got going properly when middle class liberals decided to be the champion their cause. It means that generally the social movement, according to resource mobilization theory, the social movement generally led by the middle class liberals. So rule of the middle class is taken into account as essential or taken into account as vital by the resource mobilized theories. What are the basic features of the resource mobilization theory? If we see the basic characteristics of the resource mobilization theory, then we will find out the following are important points. Now, see what are these. The basic features of the resource mobilization theory is that it is the reaction or react against the older view of social movement like communism and Nazism as an irrational protest to the marginalized and as tending to extremist and so illegitimate and not really political. So it is against the older view, older form of social movement. What was the older form of social movement? Which were irrational and which were extremist and which are not really political. But the resource mobilization theory is political and rational. Understand it. Next one is it understands social movements as individually rational attempts to resource mobilize in pursuit of the politics by other means, hence driven by people with resource embedded in a stable network, so legitimate and political actors. So what is this? The resource mobilization theory believe that this movement is started by the peoples in a legitimate way on the basis of the rationality. Tends to reproduce professional organizers' perspective. They generally, the social movement started according to the resource mobilization theory is that they tends to reproduce professional organizations. Tackling the free rider problem to build strong and effective movements through organization and selective incentive for the participation. Rajendra Singh, one of the great theorists, he summarized the major assumptions of the resource mobilization theory. What are those? According to Rajendra Singh, the major assumptions of resource mobilized theories are social movements must be understood in terms of conflict model of collective action. Number two, there is no basic difference between institutional and non-institutional collective actions. Number 3, both institutional and non-institutional collective actions contain conflicts of interest built in the system of institutionalized power relations. Number 4, social movements involve the rational pursuit in the interest by competing group. Number 5, goals and grievances, conflicts and contestations are inherently present in all relations of power, and as such they themselves cannot explain the formation of social movement. Number 6, the formation of social movements therefore is determined by the changes in resources, organization, and the opportunities for collective actions. Number 7, success and effectiveness of collective action is understood in terms of material benefit or the actor being recognized as political persons. Number 8, as Jenkins visualized, the mobilization of the men in contemporary social movement involves the use of large-scale advanced communications techniques, bureaucratized organization, and utilitarian drive and initiative. So these are the basic features of the resource mobilizations theory. Then come to the another theory. Another most important theory to the study of social movements is that relative deprivations theory. We can understand this concept on the basis of these two terms. One is relative, another is deprivation. Basically, the movement is the result of feeling of deprivations, discriminations, not getting the due. Then relative means in comparisons. So when a group of the people, when a person, when a sections of the people feel that they are relatively deprived, then they may start the social movement. So relative deprivations theory is based on the concept of people's feelings on the deprivations or not getting the due or not getting what they should get. So on the basis of that, the social movement come into exist. This theory of relative deprivation developed by American scholar Gore in 1970. American scholar Gore, G-U-R, Gore, what was the full name? Ted Robert Gore, T-E-D-R-O-B-E-R-T-G-U-R-R. Ted Robert Gore, he wrote a book known as Why Men Rebel. Why Men Rebel. It was first published in 1970 after a decade of political violence across the world. 40 years later, serious conflicts continue in Africa, Asia, and Middle East. Ted Robert Gore reintroduces us to this landmark word, putting in the context with the research it influenced as well as the world events. Why Men Rebels remains highly relevant to today, violent and unstable world with its holistic, people-based understanding and the causes of the political protest and rebellion. So this is the relative deprivation theory basically developed in the hands of Gore. Relative deprivation is defined as actors' perceptions. Relative deprivation is defined as actors' perceptions of discrepancy between the value expectations and their environment apparent value capabilities. Value expectations are the goods and the conditions of the life of the people they are justifiably entitled. So we can say this is the relative deprivations theory. It is the value expectations which is based on the concept of the goods and goods in their life and conditions of their life, where people can believe that they are justifiably entitled. If not, then they start the movement. Gore writes, the frustration, aggression, and the related threat aggressions mechanism provide the basic motivational link between relative deprivation and the potential for collective violence. Gore also links three other concepts of relative deprivations. So how we can keep in our mind that how we can analyze the relative deprivation theory, we must know three other concepts. What are those? First one is that dissonance. Dissonance means lack of agreement or harmony between the people or things. When there will be a deprivations concept coming to exist where there is lack of agreement or lack of harmony among the people. Second one is anomie. What is anomie? Lack of the usual social or ethical standard in the individual or group. This is we can say it is very easily the standard of living. When people feel that they are unable to live in the society with a minimum standard. Then third one is the conflict, when there is a differences among the peoples, there is a violence among the peoples, or other dissatisfactions among the peoples. There are three models as how to differentiate the value expectations and value capabilities has impact in the relative deprivation. So the value expectation, who plays basically vital role, who plays the basic rules, vital rules in the starting of the social movement, it is the value expectations and value capabilities. Value expectations and value capability. Value determines whether we are satisfied with a situation or not. Then come to the models of deprivations, how we can understand the deprivations. Decremental deprivation model, aspirational model, and jack up of progressive deprivational models are the three basic models of deprivations. There are three basic models of deprivations. What are those? Decremental deprivation, aspirational model, and jack or progressive deprivational model. Now come to discuss one by one. Decremental deprivation model describes the situations where the expectations are stable but capabilities decline. In aspirational model, the capabilities remain the same, but the expectations increase. Third, the last model, J-curve or progressive deprivations model, fits to the situation when expectations and capabilities first increase, but when capabilities stop to increase or decrease while expectations still go on. So, what is this decremental deprivation model? First one is this, that the situations where expectations are stable but capabilities are declining. Expectations, what the people expect, it is remain same, but their capability to solve it is not in a suitable level. It declines, it going down. Second one is aspirational model, is where capabilities remain same. When capabilities remain same and expectations increase, capability is not capable to do or to go forward. He is in a stable position, but expectation is higher. He wants to get more than the capability. When people expect more than their capabilities. And the last one is that in the situations when expectations and capabilities first increase, what increase? Expectation also increases and capabilities also increases hand in hand. But then capabilities stop. After that, capability stops, but expectation is still going on. Means capability where it stop, but expectation is going on. First, both develop. And in one time, the capability stop, but expectation is going on. These are the models of the deprivations, why people feel the deprivations concept or deprivations ideology, deprivation concept. Core issues of relative deprivations theory. If we want to discuss the relative deprivation theory, we must know the basic issues. Those who perceive deprivations and as a result experience a feeling of frustrations become aggressive. When people are perceive deprivation and as a result of experience of feeling of frustration, when they feel frustration, when they are becoming frustrated, then they become aggressive. So relative deprivation theory's issue is that aggressive attitude of the peoples coming to exist due to the deprivations. They are jealous to those who have more. It's a question of relatives. So relative means that if somebody has more and somebody has the less, then the less owner group, or less powerful group, less capable groups, they become jealous to the higher one. They protest or revolt against those who have more. They do not deal with the source of deprivation. Therefore, deprivation is primarily psychological. Therefore, it does not deal with the socio-economic structure which is source of deprivation. If such sense of deprivation is confined to an individual against another individual, it leads to crime. When it becomes collective perceptions, deprivation of region, community, or caste, it takes the form of collective action. But it is not accompanied with ideology for the social system. It remains as a protest for rebellion and hardly takes a form of social movement. Relative deprivation is necessary. Relative deprivation is a necessary but not a sufficient condition for protest movement. According to Rao, MSA Rao, he argues that a sufficient level of understanding and reflection is required on the part of participants. If for relative deprivation a protest movement have to be occurred, then there must be a sufficient level of understanding and reflection is required on the part of participants. The participants should be in the level of sufficient understanding. They must be able to observe and perceive the contrast between the social and cultural conditions of privilege and those of the deprived. They must also realize it is possible to do something about it. Is it possible to do the protest or not? Is it their capabilities to do it or not? So these are the liberal approach, liberal theories to the study of the social movement. Now come to the another approach or another model. We can say it is the Indian model. We can say it is the Gandhian model, or we can say it is the Gandhian approach. So let us discuss about the Gandhian approach, the study of social movement. I think we will discuss this part later. Gandhian approach will be discussed in my next class. So till then, I wish all the best to my students. Kindly go through this lecture and try to understand the concept. If you have any doubt, you should feel free to ask me questions, and you should also go through your books. in here I want to clarify you that maximum portions of my lectures has been taken from the IGNOU study materials. Okay, thank you very much.